Okay, everyone, air support from the Thor Discord, and I'm about to show you some of my secret sauce. I was a little reluctant to do this because I figure I'm probably going to get hammered for a copy of this spreadsheet, which I'll try to get into a method of being able to share that. Um, just not quite set up for that, and also I'm not quite set up to completely support it. I'm sure it probably has some errors, but let's at least take a look, and you can see what how I'm making a lot of my calculations and making my recommendations. So to get this going, just giving you a display here of my nodes and my current rewards that are waiting to be claimed underneath the app. And then underneath the farm here, the liquidity pool farming, you can also see my rewards that are sitting there. Let me just get the sheet up and we'll talk about it. So let me just walk you through this real quick. Um, right now, I'm just manually putting in the price coming from Dex Screener. So I've just grabbed, roughly the AVAX price here and the Thor price there, and just pop those in. Okay, so I think it was closer to 136. We'll put that in there for now. Actually, it's 136.99. 137. It just changed. And these will constantly be changing. It's really not meant to hit that too hard. Let's go grab the quick APR. 779. We'll check that. 778. That's fine. Close enough. But I'll update that just so you can see that everything's calculated. I do have quite a bit staked in there right now. I got some AVAX pretty cheap the other day, so just kind of been holding on to that. Figured I would make it grow a little bit in the farm. Okay, just keep going down this and show you what's going on. This is showing effectively a calculation of what is inside of the staked liquidity pool tokens. The way that works is it's pretty much the dollar value divided in half, spread across the price of each of those. Now this is was originally done whenever prices were a little different. This is what I would get if I go and liquidate this token right now. If I go and take all these tokens, liquidate them, and sell it, I'd roughly get this amount of value spread across this many of each of these tokens. Now let's talk about my farm rewards. Farm rewards here is just me manually typing in what I have, but I do have in here a little bit lower farm daily rewards and farm percent daily. These are calculations based off of the dollar value, based off of the APR, gives me a farm percent daily. And then I use the dollar value of the Thor price to tell me to give me the amount of tokens that I'm getting, and basically to understand the daily amount that I'm getting. Going back up here real quick, this is manually typed in. Anything in blue for me is manually typed in. Again, these rewards should all be very, very close to what was listed on the app a few minutes ago. Obviously, I've started a video and been talking to you for 3 minutes, so that's changed a bit. I also have manually typed in how many nodes I have, and I've manually typed in how much Thor I have in my wallet. So now let's get into this a bit more. What I'm doing here is just calculating, or actually this is hard-coded, the base rewards, the cost, the rewards per day. Now this is calculating based off of how many nodes I have, so you can see that the Thor actually gives you basically a third of a token a day, but I've got 3 of those, so I'm almost getting a token a day out of my Thor nodes. Currently there's some taxing to be aware of. For example, Odins are taxed 25%. I've got that calculated in there, and I've got the rest of the taxes calculated in. This basically gives me a percentage return for each node. Now this percentage return here doesn't matter how many nodes you have, it's still a percentage return based off of the original cost of the node. It's actually based off of this APR over here. This is basically the return that the nodes produce. So a great question that I get asked is, what should I be doing right now? Should I be creating Thor nodes? Should I be saving up and getting Odins? What's my plan? Well, right now these rewards are pretty good. They're being changed, but you can see here the APR for a Thor node, 770. Really, really close to the liquidity pool at the moment. Now, the liquidity pool rewards will continue to go down. The more we put in the liquidity pool, the less return we'll see. In fact, when I staked these in there, I saw the liquidity pool drop a couple of points. That probably wasn't really from me, but it certainly seemed like it. The other thing to think about here is when you have rewards in the liquidity pool, or rather when you're staked in the liquidity pool, it's fairly liquid. You can unstake it and get your money out. With nodes, you're effectively donating the value, right? So if this costs you $5,000 or whatever it is to go create a Thor node, you're donating that $5,000. You can't get the $5,000 back. You have to wait. You have to wait the number of days that it takes for you to get your return on Thor. Let's see. Let's go through this a bit more. So, excuse me. So, got some after-tax rewards here. Let's move down a bit and let's talk about God mode for a minute, real quick, because that's a pretty common question as well. My God mode calculation here, basically I've been compounding into Thors, so I'm waiting for 12.5. Once I have that, I will go and compound into another Thor node. Now you can see right now I'm pretty much getting around 5.7 Thor per day, so I've only got about another 2 or 3 hours before I get that, before I have that 12.5 to go make another Thor node. Just thinking through, my total rewards, not including the liquidity pool, is something like this. Now that's including my farm rewards, which are up here somewhere, but it is before tax. After tax, you get a little bit less. Let's talk through what I've got down below. I've just got the 4 node types. I've got the claim taxes. Now these change starting February 8th. Right now Odin is at 25. It was at 1 for a little bit. We all really enjoyed that, but it's back to 25. And you can see here pretty much the amount of rewards that you get from each different type of node, basically after tax. This is calculating for me based on the number of nodes that I have. So I've got 3 of these, so it is showing 0.79. There's a 20% tax. I actually get 0.99 right now, but after 20% tax comes down to 0.79. I'll just do some calculations here to give me an idea of how much money I'm pulling in. I've not really sold very much Thor, so I'm not really pulling in anything. This is just sort of for my own information. Next in this calculator, I'm talking about how many nodes can I afford right now of each type. So if I considered everything that I have, my total amount of Thor rewards, including everything I've got in the liquidity pool, I've almost got myself another Odin. I could pull in another 4 Thors. Not really wanting to do that at the moment, because a lot of these these liquidity pool tokens that I have, they were made using the AVAX that I'm kind of holding on to. I've just popped it into the farm to collect that APR for a bit. I'm not really wanting to spend more money on nodes at the moment because I have put in, I've put in about $33,000 already. So looking to pay myself back a little bit for a little while once these rewards change potentially. And all right, let's just finish talking about the calculator real quick. Obviously, since I've got a bunch of tokens up here, it's throwing some of these numbers off into negatives. It's just trying to show you here days for next node type. I do this with strong nodes and a few other nodes just to understand basically how long can I not have to pay attention for a bit. So, for example, right now it looks like another 3.7 days before I can get a node in if I wanted to. So I can go enjoy the weekend and not worry about too much, although I might lose a little bit from claiming my rewards and and compounding them in the farm. I do go and play around a little bit, just calculate things into hours and minutes. This helps once I get a bit lower in the minute count. If I'm need to have a meeting or something, I know that I got 30 minutes left before I can do a node or whatever. I do sometimes go and put in my calendar a little button here that will, or make this a hyperlink that will create a Google Calendar invite for me. Just haven't done it in this one because I've only been messing with Thor for a few days, really. Just to kind of show off here a bit, what's going on is just showing how much you lose to taxes if I hit that claim button. So, right now sitting on about 8.5, or 8.25 Odin rewards. If I hit the claim button, I would lose about 2.06 to tax. Taxes aren't all that bad. It helps with sustainability, goes back into the reward pool. I'm getting so much out of this stuff. I'm happy no matter what. It's fantastic. Just showing here the net rewards after tax. This is what I would get if I clicked claim on one of the nodes or each of the nodes. And this one is now, these parts here are really probably worth having another video, but I'll at least introduce you to it and talk about that for a minute. So what's really I'm trying to show here is if I go ahead and claim the tokens out of my Odin node, for example, what would happen is I would get 6 tokens, or 6.19, and then I would go and stick that in the liquidity pool. But what would happen is I would only collect 778% against that. So it would take about 15 days in order for me to break even with doing, assuming that the price of AVAX and the price of Thor and the APR stays the same, which none of that stuff's going to stay the same. This is just to give you an idea. Instead, if I go ahead and wait and compound it into a node, effectively, I'll break even in 12 days. So it's kind of a better choice to wait and do an Odin there. Here, it is actually better to go and compound into a Thor. And I don't think that I'll probably get any more Freyas or Heimdalls. But this is why I've been compounding into Thors, is because it's just so close here. It's just not really, it's not really worth it to me. I would rather have more Thors and get a little bit more over the longer term. Okay, one last thing to point out. A lot of people have asked me, is it worth putting Thor into the liquidity pool, or should I be putting into Thors? And I kind of gave my view a minute ago, but I'd want to draw your attention to the calculation I have up here. Again, I've taken and figured out the APR of each node type, and you can see here that Thors are given around 770, 2.1 a day. And the current APR is 778, or about 2.13 per day. So if you don't have enough to make a Thor right now, go stick it in the liquidity pool. Sell half, get yourself some AVAX, put it in the liquidity pool, and really just think about your staked dollar value going up by 2.13% per day, as long as the APR is that. Obviously, if it goes up, you get more. If it goes down, you get less. And you also need to pay attention to impermanent loss, but these prices have been holding pretty close to stable, so that might not be as big of a deal. That'll definitely be something for a different video. As the APR does go up, we were at around 1,000 in the 900s, and the farm was actually paying a bit better than an Odin. But the thing to remember is as those prices of AVAX and Thor move around, that impermanent loss kicks in a little bit and can eat into those rewards. There is a curve, you can kind of look it up online, and basically if the price of either one of these goes up substantially, you can have a little bit of impermanent loss where it would have been better to just hold the tokens. If they go down substantially, you can lose quite a bit, and it would have been better, certainly, to have not been in the liquidity pool. Just things to think about. Obviously, this has all got risk to it. You need to think about the best things for you, etc. All right, I think I've shown quite a bit here. This has turned out to be a way longer video than I'd planned. Again, air support on the Thor Discord. Happy to help. answer your questions, and hope to potentially publish this spreadsheet to you guys in the future. All right, take care, have fun.